That makes it easier for me. What the devil do you mean? Do you know how Mrs. Vivian got this money? Jack looks at Herbert without speaking. Peyton leans towards him earnestly. Are you quite sure there has ever been a Mr. Vivian? Look here, Herbert, I can hear nothing to Mrs. Vivian's discredit. You must. It affects your honor. I don't care. I don't want to know anything. Let him go on, Jack. It was bound to come out sooner or later. I feel awfully sorry for you, old man. I know what a horrible shock and grief it must be to you. When you told me you were going to marry Mrs. Vivian, I asked people who she was. I found out things which made me inquire more particularly. Why the devil didn't you mind your own business? It was for your sake, Jack. I couldn't let you be entrapped in a scandalous marriage. Go on, Mr. Peyton. Mrs. Vivian has never been married. The name is assumed. Oh, God, I don't know how to tell you. Mrs. Vivian, please leave us. I can't stand it. I can't say these things before you. And I must say them. It will be better for all of us if you leave us alone. Oh, no. You asked me to stay when I offered to go. Now I want to hear all you've got to say. She's the daughter of a vet, Jack. She got mixed up with a man at Oxford and then came to town. 4 years ago she made the acquaintance of Lord Feverham, and when he got married he settled on her the sum of 1,200 a year. A pause. Jack has now become calm again and looks stonily at Herbert. Well? What's the matter, Jack? You don't seem to understand. Haven't you made it clear, damn you? How can I fail to understand? Why do you look at me like that? You've told me nothing which I did not know before. Jack, you're mad! Confound you, don't you hear me tell you that you've said nothing which I did not know before? You mean to say you knew what the woman was whom you were going to marry? I knew everything. Good God, Jack, you can't marry another man's cast-off. I'd rather you didn't call her ugly names, Herbert, because you know she's gonna be my wife. But why? Why, man? Oh, it's infamous. You say you're not passionately in love with her. What shall I say to him, Lottie? Lottie shrugs her shoulders. Well, if you want the least creditable part of the whole business. He doubtless does. Remember that for a penniless chap like me, she's a rich woman. Oh, but you're selling yourself as she sold herself. Oh, how can you? Why, man, you're going to live on the very price of her shame. One must live. Oh, Jack, what has come over you? Have you no honor? It's bad enough to marry the woman. Do that if you love her, but don't take the damn money. I never dreamt you could do such a thing. All the time I was thinking that this woman had inveigled you, and my heart bled to think of the pain you must suffer when you knew the truth. I'm very sorry. Why didn't you tell me? One doesn't care about making such things more public than necessary. No. Jack, going up to Lottie. Why do you listen to all this, dearest? Oh, I've had hard things said to me for years. I can bear it, and I don't want to run away. You're very brave, my dear. Turning to Herbert. If you'll sit down quietly and not make a beastly fuss, I'll try and explain to you how it all came about. I don't want you to think too badly of me. Oh, don't, Jack. It will only pain you. What does it matter what he thinks?"
"I should like to say it once and for all, and then I can forget it. Tomorrow we bury the past forever, and begin a new life."
Herbert, sitting down. "Well?"
"You know, when I was a boy I thought myself prodigiously clever. At Oxford I was a shining light, and when I came to town I was eager for honor and glory. It took me 5 long years to discover I was a fool. Oh, what anguish of heart it was when the fact stared me in the face that I was a failure, a miserable, hopeless failure. I had thought myself so much cleverer than the common run of men. I had looked down on them from the height of my superiority, and now I was obliged to climb down and confess that I was less than the most vulgar money grubber of them all. Ah, what a lucky chap you are, Herbert! You were never under the delusion that you had genius. You were so deliberately normal. You always did the right thing, and the thing that was expected of you. And now, you see, I'm a poor, broken down scamp, while you are a pillar of society, and you play golf and go to church regularly. You do play golf and go to church?"
"Yes."
"I knew it. And you're engaged to a model, upright English girl with fair hair and blue eyes, the daughter of a clergyman."
"The daughter of a doctor."
"Same thing. The species is just the same. And she's strong and healthy, and plays tennis and rides a bike, and has muscles like a prize fighter. Oh, I know it. Then you'll get married and help to overpopulate the island. You'll rear children upright and healthy and strong and honest like yourselves. And when you die they'll put on your tombstone, 'Here lies an honorable man.' Thank your stars that you were never cursed with ideals, but were content to work hard and be respectable. Oh, it's a long, hard fall when one tumbles back to earth, trying to climb to heaven. And the result of it all is that you have an income and honor, while I, as you remarked—"
"I didn't mean to be rough on you in what I said just now, Jack."
"No, I know you didn't, old chap, but nothing very much affects me now. When one has to stand one's own contempt, it is easy enough to put up with other people's. Oh, if you knew how awful these years were, when I tried and could do no good. At last I despaired, and went to the Cape. But I muddled away my money there as I had muddled everything in England, and then I had to work and earn my bread as best I could. Sometimes I couldn't, and I starved."
"Why didn't you write? I should have been so glad to help you, Jack."
"I couldn't accept money from you. One needs to have pawned one's shirt for bread before one can lend money like a gentleman. Lottie found out I was in distress, and sent me £20.
"He never used it, Mr. Peyton. He kept it for 2 months so as not to hurt my feelings, and then returned it with effusive thanks. I noticed they were the same 4 notes as I had sent out."
"Well, I managed to get on somehow. I tried farming. I went to the mines. I was a bartender. Imagine the shining light of Oxford debating societies, mixing drinks, in his shirt sleeves and a white apron. A merciful Providence had destined me to be one of life's failures."
"It sounds awful. I never knew." "Of course you never knew. People like you don't. You, with your income and your respectability, what do you know of the struggles and the agony of those who go under? You can't judge. You don't know how many temptations we resist for the one we fall to."
After all, it wasn't so bad when one got used to it. And I had the edifying spectacle of my fellows. Army men, shady people from the city, any amount of parsons' sons, varsity men by the score, and now and again a noble lord. Oh, we were a select body. I can tell you the failures, and the blackguards, and the outcasts. Most of them take to drink, and that's the best thing they can do, for then they don't mind."
"Thank God you escaped that."
"By no fault of mine, old chap. I should have been only too glad to drink myself to death. Only spirits make me so beastly